That's going to get flagged too.
It was that good, eh? My performance was that good.
How does your own song get flagged?
I don't know.
So I do know, but
okay.
So Jeremy's music, Jay, does your music not go to another catalog to be used?
It does, but I'm very, very. I have been very on the ball with which types it goes to make sure it doesn't end up in YouTube content ID flags. My guess is that over time, it's just doesn't matter, and it must have got on some list somewhere. But I have to figure out how to do what I did last time because
it did fix it.
Yeah, to get it.
So it's right now. It's not a. What's that?
Sorry, I was going to say, does the audience know the backstory to this, right? Because we just kind of went into this randomly. It is a hockey podcast, and we just kind of, sidetracked into this.
Well, fair enough, but yeah, my own song is getting flagged to Tyson when he uploads these for copyright strikes, and we can't monetize the podcast if we could, exactly. You know what I mean?
So yeah,
not that we're going to do that anytime soon.
Well, we're closer than you think, but anyways. It wouldn't. The watch hours on any. From what I can tell, you need so many watch hours, and we're actually closer than you think, especially for how many videos we have up. But you can't monetize watch hours on a video that has copyrighted content. They won't. It doesn't get. Yeah, it's not a strike. And it doesn't get taken down, but the irony is the copyright strike is for a guy that's on the podcast.
The joke's on you guys. I'm going to wait till we make it big. I'm going to sue yous all. You imagine?
Oh, man.
Oh, dear. Anyways. We're 1 week out from trade deadline.
Yep.
So we got lots to talk about with that. And we'll get into some of that stuff. I wanted to ask kind of off the top here. McDavid, he is by what some might say, is having a down year. I think he's on pace to finish with is it 40 fewer points than last year?
He's at 96 or 97, I think, right now. So
on pace, yeah.
Yeah, it's first time under 100, I think, ever for him, or since his rookie year. But
right, I'm looking
up his stats here right now. Just one sec.
It's funny. He's fourth in the league in scoring with 74 points. He's only behind McKinnon, Draisaitl, and Kucherov. And I've been seeing all this stuff what is wrong with McDavid? It's just insane that the standard for him.
I was just going to say before you said that, the irony of, what's wrong with McDavid? Why is he having such a down year? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Fourth in scoring in the entire league.
He's at 1.4 points per game.
What's wrong with him?
He has one less goal than Nathan McKinnon. It's just McKinnon has 16 more assists, and that has him in first in the scoring race right now. But he's having a down year. I just thought it's funny, and he actually had a quote the other day saying that he finally kind of acknowledged for the first time this year that he hasn't been playing, the way he'd like to, which he hasn't said all along. But I was curious your guys' thoughts. Is this a down year for McDavid, or is this just a normal year and he's just had a lot of above average years, or what is the normal for this guy?
You gonna go, Tice?
I guess I think it's a little bit of both. Hear me out. I don't think maybe Phil will back me up on this. I think he's been overproducing ridiculously for the league that he's in. But to have fallen off this much, which is still insane, I don't know that's average. I still think he's going to be batting above average. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we were just saying, like, he's fourth in the league in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
You would take any superstar on your team as the franchise player in a heartbeat who is consistently in the top 5 in scoring, would you not? In a 32-team league? Did you know what I mean?
Would. Yeah.
And he's just not outright first this year, and he's having a down year.
Yeah.
So I've always said with him, what a ridiculous thing to try to maintain is how out front he always was. And at some point, like, we even talked about all those assists to Hyman, for Hyman to get his 50. Well, teams figured that stuff out. They know how to defend that now. Do you know what I mean? So, like, there's some, I don't know, like New Jersey used to play the trap all the time. Then teams figured it out.
Yeah.
You couldn't keep playing the trap all the time. You knew how to break the trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I know it's apples and oranges, but.
So I'm looking at, like, Gretzky right here. I'm looking at his stats. And, man, like, he was, like, he made hay in, like, the first 7-8 years of his career. And then after that, it just started slowly dropping. Like, he was still Gretzky. He was still the best player in the league, right? But his points started slowly dropping every year. And this is year 9 with McDavid, I think. So, like, we could be seeing the same effect starting to happen, right? Like, it's just starting to slowly hit that decline. But then again, he could come out next year and do McDavid things and slap us all in the face and call us silly.
Ovechkin has proven that, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Holy cow.
Exactly.
I heard a quote. It was Nathan McKinnon said one time that kind of stuck with me. It was like a year or two ago. He said, I think you're going to see, like, the players who are at the top of the league now. He said, I think you're going to see them performing greater later into their careers. And it kind of stuck with me because we just have always thought, like, yeah, once you hit 32, 33, we wait for the big drop off.
Mm-hmm.
And his point was, like, with nutrition and the way guys work at this stuff now, he's thinking that you're going to see performance later on. And I mean, we are seeing that right now with a 37-year-old Sidney Crosby. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to bring him up.
Yeah. So I think with a guy like McDavid, I think, like, he's got, I don't know, like, he could have 7 or 8 more seasons of plus 100 points. It wouldn't surprise me. And if I look at his, like, his best points seasons, he's on pace for 114 right now. That would be his 4th best season of his career.
Wow.
He had 153 points one season, 132, 123, 5th. It had 116. And if he had 114, it would be his 5th best career, which would be, that would put him still in the upper half of his best seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the whole conversation's crazy. Like, we're talking about, like, it's his 5th best plus 100 point season.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's insane.
Yeah, he said 700 point seasons. One of them was 153. One of them was 132. I just think, like, him having a down year, quote unquote, and an average year, I think that's just it. I think it's just an average season for him, So I really don't think there's anything wrong. It's just we're not used to not seeing him at the top of the scoring.
Yes.
Like we have been in the last few seasons. So anyways, I wanted to touch on that because, like, we just saw what he did, for Team Canada. He scores the big goal. But then since he's come back, like, Edmonton's been getting hammered.
Yes, thank you. So that segues into some trade rumors that are starting to float around. Is Edmonton searching for a goalie desperately before playoffs?
Yes.
So in your opinion, and I've now seen this, my rule is if I see it only once, I don't bring it up. If I see it twice, it's worth a conversation. About Edmonton pursuing a trade for Jordan Binnington.
I heard that today too.
I mean, what do you have to give up for Jordan Binnington?
Well,
And I think his stock just went up again, right? Like, would that be fair to say?
I always feel like
that's
I have.
weird, though. Does it?
I know.
Your play in Four Nations, does it really affect what you're worth in the NHL?
I think recency bias with a lot of GMs is a thing. You know, and that's why you see. Well, you see that the most at July 1st. I feel like with the big.
Yeah, and there's always some sucker that overpays for somebody. Always.
Exactly.
Always.
Yeah.
So.
But St. Louis, I mean, they are sellers. Like they're 6th in the Central right now. I mean, they are. Where's the wild card standings here? Here we go. Yeah, so they're like there's Vancouver in the second wild card spot, then Calgary, Utah, then St. Louis. They're 62 points. Vancouver has 65. But like those gaps, even if they maintain that gap, like as the next week goes on, I mean, they got to pick one. And from everything I'm seeing, they're sellers. So yeah, I don't know what Jordan Binnington's value is because his season stats have been pretty pedestrian, and you're not going to get a GM give you a bunch of assets and first round picks because a guy plays big in big games. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
and I was just going to say that he is a big game player. So if you get him to the dance with a team like Edmonton, like get him to the dance, who knows what's going to happen, right? Because they got
some of these. Yeah, I agree, Phil. And some of these, I always find goalie stats an anomaly because you can hear like on average, the longer into the season you get, I find the more believable the stats are. But like,
bigger sample size, right?
So Jay, like when we say like he's playing, like his stats are pretty pedestrian, you are correct. His stats, like the data is pedestrian. He's playing on a team that's playing horrible this year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like how many of those shots, like, oh, he let in 3 goals tonight. Yeah. And all 3 of them were maybe 3 save goals. He saved it. Oh, it's in. You know what I mean? But the stats and data don't show that. It just shows goals against and save percentage. And they're getting peppered down there.
I say pedestrian. I mean, his goals against average is 2.82, which it's below 3, which these days is decent. And his save percentage is 899. His career percentage is 907. So he's pretty much on. And last year he's put
an
up
average goalie, like above average.
Well, and last year his save percentage was 913, which is really good.
Yeah. Very good.
So I mean,
if you're 900 and less than 3 goals per game, like you're considered a pretty good goalie in the NHL these days, right?
Yeah.
So, with scoring the way it is and stuff.
And I view it this way. So if you're Edmonton and you've got contracts going to end very soon. So you know how like you're as close to all in maybe this year as you can be without going all in? Because you've only got 2 years left of some of these contracts, right? Some end this year, some end next year.
They have to be.
Yeah, so do you go for a big game goalie to try to like if we don't do it now, we might not get it done?
But here's the interesting thing. Edmonton and St. Louis dealing specifically because of Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. I mean, that was pretty nasty, right? The whole offer sheet, they lost both guys. So, like, is Stan Bowman really gonna like pony up a first round pick and like I don't even know who their prospects are, but like, is he gonna pony that up for Binnington? Like, and you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be like these guys hold there's a bit of a grudge there, especially with an offer sheet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's fair.
So I don't know, but like it does.
I was going to say that'd be like Dubas doing a trade with Toronto. Like
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
and they did him dirt. Well, however you want to look at it. But
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's just not going to happen.
No,
Yeah.
or very hard to see happen.
Mm-hmm.
The only other kind of asterisks I'll throw out there for the goalie troubles at Edmonton, Vejmelka is a UFA this summer.
I heard that name. I think there's going to be a lot of talk about him. He's been very good for Utah. I just think you know that team's been up and down, and his games have been kind of up and down. But it seems like he turns in a lot of really good performances. And yeah, he's UFA, so you know I could see a lot of interest there, especially with the Oilers. You know, the Oilers are in a bit of what the Avs were dealing with Georgiev. It's just like he plays some really good games, but when it's bad, it's really bad. And it's like, you know, if you're talking about a 7-game series where you can't lose 4 out of 7, and you got a goalie that you feel like he can't consistently get you the 4 wins that you need out of that, you know, like you don't know what you're going to get. Like it's hard. So Vejmelka, I think, is a more realistic option for Edmonton. And then the only other one I could see, although we talk about him every year, is John Gibson.
Yeah, I had him on my list.
So yeah,
I just feel like we just said his name and he's injured again, though. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
That's what you get with John Gibson, you know, like it's What's the deal with sidebar? Is what's the deal with lampshades? No. Stollers, is he your guy? Or when what's his name comes back? Drawing a complete blank. What's your other goalie's name?
You thinking of him, Matt Murray?
Yeah. Is he not Matt Murray?
So Wall's good. I think he's out tonight. He's with the flu.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I've looked at a Leaf game, it's been Stollers, so I've been like waiting for Wall to get in. Okay, so he's okay. All right.
No, Stollers missed 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, with
that he had.
Mm-hmm.
So are they 1A, 1B?
It's leaning a little more Stoller since 4 Nations. I think Wall has only gotten in 1 game so far, and this is their 5th game tonight. So
okay,
fourth game tonight. Yeah,
is it 4th game tonight?
Is that fine going into the playoffs? You guys are happy with that?
Whoever wins,
he's tied for goals against with Connor Hellebuck. He was just down 1 game for it to count as a season average, which he got the other night and won again. So I don't know what his goals against is now, but they squeaked that one. But we'll take it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a Wall fan, but man, there's just something about the confidence that the Leafs seem to play with Stolarz and that, just because he's a giant and like he can make. Yeah. He gets himself in front of the net so good, and the puck just seems to just hit him right. Like, and he's just such a big guy. Like when they're battling in front of the net, like he just takes up so much net. Like it's hard to jam a puck in past him. And like Wall, don't get me wrong, Wall's been playing great. Like he's been playing lights out too. But and the Leafs play great in front of Wall too. But Stolarz seems to have the little bit of an edge right now.
Yeah, I'd agree. And the thing was with Craig Berube, and we've not seen a playoff run with Craig Berube, but I've watched playoff runs with Craig Berube. He's a 1 goalie guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He is.
He's going to run with somebody, and it's going to be an injury or sickness to.
Yeah,
that is the only. Yeah,
they'll get the net until shown otherwise.
Yeah. Now, some are saying it will be 1A, 1B for maybe they got 20-something games left, so say 10 more games, and then start ramping one of them up for the playoffs, basically. It's kind of
I can see it.
The chatter. But, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Tyson, did you have anyone else on your list you wanted to talk about? Because I had one.
Well, we were just talking about the Blues, so we might as well talk about Brayden Schenn, because what the heck? I'm assuming he's going to be moved. You know, you don't see too many team captains this day and age.
Drager said this morning the Leafs are on the top of the list for him. And that's coming from one of the head honchos themselves, right?
So then Andy Strickland reported this afternoon. So Phil, I saw that and I looked more into it. And then he said, while the deal is still on the table and we're told that the Leafs have all the tools to make this trade happen, they haven't submitted an offer. And he thought a trade looked doubtful, but it was still possible.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's 3 years left on his contract, and I wonder if that's a bit of a holdup. Because like he's 33.
3 years at $6.5 million.
So you're committing to like
Tanev
he's
right now,
36.
Tanev has term.
Isn't he around the same?
Yeah, he has term in age too. So what? If you sign Tanev, why wouldn't you take on Schenn? You know?
I don't know. It's another center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on. I'd love to see him in a Leafs jersey. Don't get me wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like part of me as a fan. 4.5 for Tanev.
Tanev, yeah. Right.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was high.
Yeah,
it's 6 years. Okay, I thought it was 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right
yeah, I don't. So at his age, I don't know.
So where does Schenn fit? Is he 2C? Is he 3C?
3. I think he'd be 3.
That's an expensive 3C. $6.5 million. You know what I mean? You don't
better
usually
than the other two on the team.
Well, I think if you see that, the writing's on the wall for poor Mr. Domi. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because stuff's not getting done. But also, I know what you mean, Jay, by an expensive 3C when you don't have... I know you'll know what I mean, but when you have a top 2 lines, you don't need 4 great wingers. You need 2 great wingers.
Yeah.
And if you had 3 great wingers, you could arguably have 3 strong lines if you had... If centers are part of that package, right? Like you don't need... Like what we've seen in Toronto land is Matthews and Marner, they keep trying third guys with them, and all of them start producing more when they go up with them. None of them are great, but they all start producing more. And it's like, well, of course you are. You're on a line with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner.
We haven't seen what you're talking about in a few years. Like there is like 20, I want to say 18-ish was the golden age. There was 3 big lines in the NHL. In Calgary, there was Gaudreau, Tkachuk, and Monahan. And they were like and then in Boston, you had Bergeron, Marchand, and Pastrnak. And then around that time was when McKinnon's career took off, and he was playing on that super line with Landeskog and Rantanen. And I feel like we talked about which line was the best for a couple years. And really since then, I mean, there isn't like a 3-star
person line. No, it seems to be pairings.
Like that.
It's a center and a winger, that it stay together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like you said, it's not important, I think, to have. It's like you just need one guy to kind of check the puck back, get the puck, you know, dig it out, get it to the other guys. Like, seems to be the move. But yeah, I just wasn't sure, like, because Toronto has to make a hockey deal, right, to get a guy like Schenn. But if the Blues are not rebuilding, or I guess I don't know what you call it.
Well, they're selling.
They're selling.
They might be willing to do that to move him.
I don't know how interested they are in a guy like Domi or whatever. They're going to be more interested in, you know, probably like Easton Cowan or...
I was just going to say Minton.
You know what I mean?
Easton Cowan, Robinson, maybe. He's starting to play well right now. So his value is going up.
But you got to do some kind of prospect package to get salary retention, because how else do you fit that in there?
It's the only way that happens. So then I also, accompanied with that, Phil, have been hearing the Luke Schenn rumors.
Right.
And there's been a lot of... What was that? Aliens.
Somebody's phone. That is the phone sound.
I shut my cellular off, so...
Yeah.
Might have been
I can't get the blame on this one. So I'm well, it's always my fault on the other one, Phil. That's why.
Honestly, I'm using my phone right now to check stats, so that's why I got it.
Sorry. No, but I've been hearing I've been hearing Luke Schenn rumors, and then I've seen like Hockey News had a story up, and TSN had a story up, and some other, it was NHL trade deadline / news, whatever the website was. It was like top 3 teams that could put the brothers together as if they want a deal. Like the two of them want to play together, because Luke Schenn must be getting pretty close to, like, what would he have, 3 or 4 seasons left? Maybe.
You would think.
Maybe. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they're looking for,
and like, and I don't know what his game is. I guess it's just he kind of becomes that
defenseman.
Nick Foligno kind of,
and he hits hard
type. Yeah,
he's never stopped hitting hard. So you know what I mean? Everyone always jokes about the size of him, like he's not a real tall guy; he's a thick guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them joking about, like, when he got traded to the Leafs last year just for the run. Someone, one of the announcers were joking about, you like the Leafs training staff trying to weld 2 helmets together to fit it on. His head, because his head's so big. Like, he's just a big, solid. Yeah. He shows up in playoffs, right? He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's a pretty quiet guy, but he hits hard and he doesn't lose his guy in the playoffs. Like, that's his. It's a shutdown. That's his role, right?
Stock is the heart and soul guy that everyone loves at playoff time.
Yeah.
But there's a couple places the Leafs are one. I've also seen a lot of stuff connected them to the Avs, because I don't know what they're doing with Middlestat. He started off really great, and it's been a long stretch of underperforming. It just feels like the 2C ever since. So before Kadri and after Kadri, there's been no good 2C. They have not been able to get one. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try to move them or what. But so there's a lot of links to him to Colorado, but I think it's purely because of the Middlestat troubles. So
maybe
we'll see what happens there.
Since you brought that up, have you not noticed? I feel like a month ago we were talking about Kadri's name getting thrown around again all over the place, and all of a sudden it's gone real quiet. Like, I've seen nothing.
Well,
they're in that same. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
No, I was going to say, is Calgary in the playoffs? That could have been why, right?
That's where I was going.
Yeah,
I think they don't know what they are. They're 1 point behind Vancouver for the second wild card spot, and they're in that toughest position that a team can be, where, like, if you're in the murky middle, you just keep doing these small little deals to buy, keep getting rid of second round picks or whatever you're doing, because to get into the playoffs. But then that's not actually enough to help you go deep in the playoffs.
Or you just miss.
Right. Or it misses.
Yeah.
But no general manager wants to take a playoff chance and throw it away, because anything can happen. You know what I mean? So, and I don't think, like, Craig Conroy hasn't really committed one way or the other. And I think that's since he's taken the job there. I don't know. I think he's been trying to pick up the pieces because of the whole Tkachuk fallout. I still think he's dealing with that.
I think so,
and
too.
They still don't really know what they are. So,
but I'm assuming if a lot of their trade chatter has pretty dramatically slowed, it must actually closetly mean, like, well, let's go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and exactly. And but I don't know, because, like, Huberdeau too is kind of resurged a bit. That's the other factor too, is, like, I feel like Huberdeau, he's kind of the guy. This is a sidebar here, but, like, he's sort of what I was worried about this Rantanen deal was going to be. Where, like, Huberdeau had he had that ridiculous season.
And then they put him on the cover of EA Sports, man.
Yeah,
that's what they did to Zegras too. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The curse.
Makar was on there too, and he seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, Matthews was too.
Yeah, so. Matthews was there.
I remember Maddox was crapping a brick when they put Matthews on. He was like, no. Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. So I Huberdeau has not really been the same, and that was supposed to be like an even enough trade, right?
Mhm.
That
Like,
was
I know
supposed to be a big deal for Calgary.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Huberdeau
And
had a
it's-
monster season his last season in Florida. Like it was,
He did.
like he had a
Oh,
great
just-
season.
the assists were through the roof, right? Like
Mhm.
that
The
was
funny thing about that, and I don't know how much you guys read into it, those like all those assists he got. Like I saw different articles about how they were very much like they were mostly secondary assists,
Okay.
and depending on how you value that, like this, like basically, I
Yeah.
saw some articles saying really the plays that would develop from whatever it was like after, like he had just happened to be the last guy that touched it before. It sounds really like you're criticizing the guy, but it was kind of like his point was like, if you look into this, you could sort of see that it was a bit of an anomaly, but anyways.
Mhm.
So yeah, speaking of I guess, comparing that deal to what I thought might go on with, not that it's the same, with Rantanen in Carolina. I've been seeing nonstop rumors about what Carolina's going to do with Rantanen.
Mhm.
And as an Avalanche fan, I'm like, this means we won, we won the trade.
Yeah. Because Nature's is playing awesome, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he's a point per game player.
Yeah.
He's got like 12 points in 11 games.
Well, I mean,
And
like, we were talking like when players hitch their ride to Marner and Matthews, like if you look in Colorado, they get the big guy right there, right, with Mac, right? So
exactly. And
you hitch on to him and hang on.
Well, and what I like about it, let's go down this road. But like what I like about it is it's not just like I don't want to. I'm not saying what Zach Hyman is doing is wrong, but he's not standing in front of the net banging in tap-ins. He's like a lot of times he's the guy skating around, setting stuff up.
Yeah,
like it suits his game way better the way the Avs play than the high volume shots through traffic that they kind of do in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, yeah, I've been pretty happy with that, but yeah, it just flipped so quick to, what's Carolina going to do? And as I feel like you read about with every big name, I saw a bunch of stuff linking him to the Leafs.
Oh, man. Yeah, me too.
And I was like,
how? Can't see it. You can't see
it. How?
So,
how are you going to do that?
Here's where I can see it. And if my wife listens to this, she's going to hate me because she said, do not bring up Mitch Marner. Marner has not re-signed, and it doesn't look like at all he's going to re-sign, especially before next week. And I wonder if, I wonder if it's like, if there's not some magical trade that happens, then they stick with Marner. Here's what I can picture. There is a world where Carolina hangs on to Rantanen despite no deal being signed before March 7th.
I actually think that's what will happen.
And they tried, because I don't know how they're going to make up for what they lost with Natchez. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What they gave up for him, I don't know how in another trade you'd get that same return back. It's not going to happen. So why not hold on for the best? And you take a run into the playoffs with him and you see what happens. And the Leafs can do the same with Marner. And you watch if you don't see some weird like July 1st signing of Rantanen's gone to Toronto, and that means Toronto's not re-signing Marner.
Yeah. I think if you're in Carolina and you throw Rantanen on the trade block, you lose your point of leverage because it shows that because he's not playing well, right? So like it just shows that you're
I think so too.
Trying to reclaim what you had in Natchez through a trade through Rantanen, and it just doesn't make sense.
They'll never have the leverage Colorado did when they decided to move him when he was 1 point, 2 or 4 point a game player, scoring all the time. He was 4th in the league in scoring when the trade happened. and it was before, well before the deadline. So they maximize that leverage. And like you said, Phil, they won't get that leverage again. So
That's a very good point.
Yeah. And like, it's just such a tough pill to swallow for them. I mean, that from what I know about Eric Tulsky, like, have you ever read about Eric Tulsky? Either of you?
A little bit, but not a lot. But I know exactly
the dude
what
is
you're
like, he has like a PhD in math and science, and he's a physicist. And
okay.
Oh, the dude is he wrote research papers. Like, the dude is a super smart guy. He's big into the analytics and that kind of thing. So when I say calculated risk, I don't think there's a GM that you could say that any more than Eric Tulsky. So, I just have to think that they're not going to move him, and that he thinks that either the playoff push is worth it with him, and then, if he walks, he walks. Like, I think that's what they're going for. I just can't see how, as a contender, any trade is going to make them a better team. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me neither. And I guess they offered him, we don't know what the numbers are, but all the rumors that they offered him quite the hefty deal.
Oh, yeah. I think he would get the biggest contract in, Hurricanes history for sure. I think they would. I don't think they make a move like that if he hadn't gone to Tom Dundon, who's notoriously cheap, and said, listen, like, you got to open the checkbook for this guy. Like, you know what I mean? You need to give me every tool to persuade him to stay here. So I don't doubt that those conversations happened.
And then they did, and he doesn't seem like he wants to.
Well, so. I think it's like, sit here like, I know Mikko Rantanen, like, you know what I mean? Like, but like, I've watched post game and interviews with him and the behind the scenes stuff they do for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a dude that still can't believe what just happened. Like, we've all kind of moved on, but like, I think he's still like,
it'd be a shock.
I think he was so shocked. He's probably putting that Hurricanes jersey on, going like,
what is this?
What is going on? So I just, but when he signed his last deal with Colorado, like, he sat out the first week of training camp. So him and his agent have been notoriously very
hardball,
very tough to hardball for sure. So anyways, I say all that, and this is where I pick up my phone and go, Mikko Rantanen was traded.
Hey, last time we did this on a Friday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true story.
Exactly. So he's the big one people are going to talk about, but I'll put it out there and say I don't think he's going to be traded. It just doesn't make any sense to Carolina.
I don't think it makes sense for any return that you could possibly. I just can't wrap my head around how, in what world it would ever seem worth it now to try to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if he comes on fire, you want to keep him, like, go for the run, right? So why would you want to trade him? Like,
exactly.
Like I'm talking like in the next 8 days here, right?
Or 7 days. But, yeah. Right.
So.
And last night, I think he had a goal and assist.
Right.
And it was like his first multi-point game, his first are we going now? Because I know his underlying numbers have been really good. Now, you go to Carolina, because of the way Carolina plays, they sort of lend themselves to advanced stats looking good just by the way that they play.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been, I think, one of the best for like expected goals and shooting. Corsi for percentage and stuff like that. He's been leading them. So usually those guys that are in leading in those advanced stats, it tends to be just a matter of time before the production sort of catches up to what he's doing on the ice. And I mean, honestly, I hope it works out. I mean, I don't want to, just personally, because I'm a fan of it. I have 3 of his jerseys on my wall.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, I'm hoping he comes out of it and figures it out.
You'll have to get something Carolina for your wall now.
Yeah, I'll get a Hurricanes jersey.
Maddox has a signed Penguins pick by Michael Bunting up in his bedroom.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, it
right.
does. Yeah.
Personal. I think if I get a Canes jersey, I got to get a Bates Battaglia, just because it's a great name. Do you remember that line? Remember Eric Cole, Bates Battaglia, and who was the third? The brother there, Stahl.
Oh,
okay.
Eric Stahl. Yeah, they were like, we were talking about like, those 3-player lines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyways, I figured you remember them. They played a lot against the Leafs there, but anyways.
So maybe the only other thing I want to bring up before we go, I can't imagine this at all. Brad Marchand going to move?
He has a no trade, no move, doesn't he? He would have to.
I assume he does, but we're also living in a world where
Brad,
when ownership comes to you and says, "Hey, Brad, we'd like to move you," do you know what I mean? It almost becomes like, "So you don't want me here anymore?"
Yeah.
So I don't know,
think,
and he's the captain.
15-team no trade, so he can veto half the league. Yeah. Oh, actually, hold on here. Year 8. If this is the 8th year, he has an 8-team no trade. It drops to an 8-team.
Man, the contracts are crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's so weird. Year 6, it's a 6-team approved trade list. Year 7, 15-team no trade. And year 8, 8-team. So actually, as you get to the end of your contract, it goes, your protection goes down.
You have less and less say. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they could move him anytime. And I agree with you, Tyson. That's the one I'm really interested to see. And he's a guy I would be thrilled to have him in on the Avs. Holy cow, that would be fantastic. I don't have the same emotional investment in the Eastern.
No, you don't.
Nope.
And especially after like all those clips of him in Four Nations, I was like, he's a great guy. He's so funny.
Well, that's what my wife said. She's watching these videos of him and he's mic'd up. And, that-a-boy Mitchie. She's like, I've never been more conflicted in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Did you see that one where he comes, I don't know, we might have already talked about it, but he comes in after that first game against Sweden.
Yeah.
And Marner has scored and he's got a stall next to him. So he comes in, he's like, attaboy, Mitchie. And then he's like, he's like, wow. He's like, I might be the biggest fan here. Saying that to the other guys.
Yeah.
McDavid and Crosby sitting next to him, and he says, and you know how Crosby, he did that drop pass all the way back. He's taking his stuff out. He's like, risky play, 8-7, risky play. Drop it through the legs, back to your own zone. Not a big deal. and you see McDavid
was almost offside.
He says to Marner, he says, takes a big loop around, almost went offside.
I can just imagine him when you're going to war in your locker room, though. As much as I can't stand him, that's why I can't stand him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he will do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he does not, I don't know that he wants to win. Yeah, it's like he hates losing. It's not just I want to win. I despise losing. Like that's the way he plays. Like I will do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
think
can't picture him in another jersey. It's like when Stamkos went to Nashville. Like I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, it depends how Boston handles this, because if they kind of pull the rug out from under him and ship him somewhere, he is going to have a bone to pick. Like, you know what I mean? He will be fired up to say, like, you guys made the wrong choice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he's captain of the Bruins. And when's the last time a captain of the Boston Bruins been kind of talked about like this, right? They've all had graceful retirements, unless you're Ray Bourque, where he requested he wanted to go win a cup or whatever. But Yeah,
that was like a case by
I
case
just
circumstance, though. Like, you know,
Yeah,
that was a one-off thing, right?
Oh yeah,
But like the modern
different
captains
vibe
have
to
had
it.
like this ride into the whole, like into grace, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
nice, easy transition
agreed.
right out of it, and then the new guy comes in and it's perfect.
Special, yeah, special thing for Chara, special thing for Bergeron, and now it's Marchand's turn, and it's like, is he going to be traded? So, but it's his cap hit, man, $6.13 million. That's a very tradable cap hit for what you're going to get from him. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm super curious to see. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, if we've learned anything about Bruins management, especially with the way they handled, you know, Allmark and Swayman, like they don't.
They'll do it.
I don't think. Yeah, exactly. They'll do it. So, anyways, that's the one I'm kind of keeping
Me too.
an eye on.
I got my eyes on that one, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I booked the day off. I love trade deadline day.
I will be getting ready to. I'm going to miss that day. First time I have my phone.
You get a good data package down there?
I'm gonna.
There you go.
All right, lads. Well, it's going to be something to keep an eye on. Holy damn.
Yeah. I'll be in my jammies with my coffee.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, boys. Good work today.
All right, lads.
As to you.
Thanks for listening, everybody. If you've actually listened this long, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and keep your stick on the ice.
Ciao.